Wendy Williams' life has taken more turns than any daytime drama, and her latest twist might be the most stunning of all. For years, fans watched her battle personal demons, overcome legal hurdles, and face betrayals that played out under relentless public scrutiny. But no one expected the most devastating betrayal to come from someone so close. How did Wendy, once at the top of her game, end up in a court-ordered guardianship that cut her off from her own money? And why is she now claiming that her own son, Kevin Jr., had a direct hand in it? This is a story that's both unbelievable and unsettling, packed with controversy, heartbreak, and plenty of unanswered questions. Wendy Williams carved out her own lane in the world of media. She started as a radio host, known for a bold, unfiltered style that redefined what celebrity interviews could be. Unafraid to ask the tough questions, Wendy thrived on controversy and gossip, eventually parlaying that knack for sensational storytelling into her long-running daytime talk show. At her peak, she was unstoppable, the queen of gossip, dishing out Hollywood secrets while stirring up drama that kept viewers glued to their screens. Yet, Wendy's personal life was never far behind the headlines she covered. Fans often watched with concern as her struggles spilled into the spotlight. When she fainted on live television in 2017, speculation about her health ramped up. Later, rumors of substance misuse, marital issues with her husband Kevin Hunter Sr., and other tumultuous events tarnished her once triumphant public image. People worried. Was Wendy okay? She maintained a brave face, insisting she had everything under control until she didn't. Much of the heartbreak traced back to Kevin Sr. Over time, news broke that he'd not only cheated on Wendy, but also fathered a child with his long-term mistress. The revelation was a gut punch for someone who had so openly declared her love for her husband on national television. Public sympathy turned Wendy into a kind of tragic figure, a woman fighting multiple battles, health, heartbreak, and personal demons, all while still trying to entertain millions. To keep her show running, Wendy often kept tight-lipped about her personal struggles. But behind the scenes, her health was deteriorating. She checked into sober houses, shared limited updates with fans, and tried to reassure everyone that she'd return to her purple chair stronger than ever. Still, a lingering sense of worry remained, and as we now know, that concern was well-founded. No one truly expected Wendy to lose control of her finances. After all, she'd always projected an image of independence, an outspoken woman who knew how to hustle and secure her fortune. But in early 2022, everything changed when Wells Fargo, one of America's biggest banks, froze her accounts. Speculation ran wild. Had someone stolen her money? Was Wendy mentally unfit to handle her wealth? The official word was that the bank suspected Wendy might be a victim of undue influence. At first, fans assumed unscrupulous business associates were siphoning funds. Wendy herself seemed bewildered and distraught, telling anyone who'd listen that she could pay her own bills and was in the right state of mind to do so. All the while, guardianship proceedings moved forward, limiting her ability to access her hard-earned millions. For a celebrity who made a living by speaking her mind, it was a brutal blow to lose control of her own narrative and her finances. Just who was behind this guardianship push? Initially, people speculated Wendy's management team or even Kevin Sr. was orchestrating it to keep her powerless. But as months passed, a new name emerged from the shadows: her son, Kevin Jr. It came as a shock to everyone. Wasn't Kevin Jr. the one bright spot in Wendy's life, the child she frequently praised on air? Why would he do this to his own mother? Then, clips began to surface where Wendy dropped hints that it wasn't some distant associate or business manager interfering with her money. She pointed to someone in her own family, someone with daily access to her accounts. The heartbreak was evident in her voice. Could it really be her son? Fans had always considered Wendy's son off-limits, an untouchable part of her private world. Even at the height of Wendy's controversies, Kevin Jr. seemed supportive, occasionally appearing in interviews to praise his mom's resilience. So when gossip outlets reported that Kevin Jr. might have misused Wendy's funds, many refused to believe it. But the longer Wendy remained cut off from her accounts, the more credible these rumors became. Finally, Wendy herself confirmed what everyone had been whispering. Kevin Jr. had overstepped his boundaries. According to Wendy's claims, her bank flagged a series of large, suspicious withdrawals tied directly to her son. That discovery allegedly played a key role in Wells Fargo's decision to freeze her accounts. The shock for fans was twofold. First, that Wendy was left with virtually no access to her own money. Second, that her beloved Kevin Jr. was behind the transactions that triggered this entire legal fiasco. Wendy described one especially alarming incident. Kevin Jr. had told her he wanted to rent a boat for his birthday, a seemingly harmless request. The price tag? Around $1,500. But once the transaction posted, it ballooned to a staggering $113,000. That's a massive leap from a low four-figure expense to a six-figure extravaganza. Wendy was appalled, and the bank started asking questions. If someone can spend $113,000 on a boat rental in a single day, what else might they be capable of? The more Wendy spoke about the situation, the clearer it became that Kevin Jr. might not have acted alone. Although she was careful about naming additional people, she implied there were others aiding and abetting these questionable financial moves. From daily debits to extravagant parties, the pattern suggested a deeper conspiracy, one that turned Wendy's life upside down. No wonder Wells Fargo froze everything. The spending spree was too glaring to ignore. Meanwhile, the public's reaction was swift and divided. Some fans empathized with Wendy, recognizing her heartbreak. Others took Kevin Jr.'s side, suggesting he wouldn't steal from his mother and that the narrative might be misconstrued. But the concrete figures, $113,000 boat rentals and daily suspicious withdrawals, paint a grim picture. If these are genuine, how can anyone deny that Wendy's finances were grossly mishandled? No conversation about Wendy's finances would be complete without revisiting the specter of Kevin Sr. He spent years as Wendy's manager, confidant, and eventually the subject of her heartbreak. The question remains, how much influence does he still wield behind the scenes? Some suspect Kevin Jr. might be taking cues from his father's history of unfaithfulness and financial exploitation. After all, a child can learn from a parent's example, for better or worse. Before the guardianship, Wendy was legally obligated to pay monthly alimony to Kevin Sr. He lived off her money, even though he'd been involved in a public cheating scandal. When the check stopped due to the frozen accounts, Kevin Sr. claimed financial devastation, whining about late mortgage payments and overdue car insurance. It wasn't enough to convince a judge, but it gave fans a glimpse into how dependent he'd become on Wendy's fortunes. Where does Wendy Williams go from here? For starters, she's still appealing to the court to end her guardianship. Lawyers on both sides are presenting medical records, financial statements, and other evidence to prove or disprove Wendy's competence. The outcome isn't guaranteed. Guardianship cases can stretch for years, especially when vast sums of money are involved. For now, Wendy remains under court supervision, but she's challenging every stipulation. She wants her finances back. She wants her voice back, and she's not mincing words about who she believes wronged her. Ultimately, her story is a stark reminder of how precarious fame can be. Even the brightest stars can find themselves overshadowed by personal scandals. When betrayal strikes from within the family circle, it cuts deeper than any tabloid gossip ever could. Wendy may have lost her show, her marriage, and temporary control over her fortune, but she hasn't lost her resilience. If she manages to free herself from this guardianship, we can only imagine what revelations she'll share next. The drama is far from over, and knowing Wendy, the final chapter has yet to be written.